country, organising rallies, protests, supporting various local groups with ideas and literature. He's been an important resource for all of the groups actively opposing TPP. Rick?
Thank you very much. Greetings, and it's great to see so many happy smiling faces here today. And the indications are that this round of meetings that we're conducting, so far we've done Newtown on Tuesday, Wednesday we were in Johnsonville, Thursday we were in Lower Hutt at Alistown, today here. Tomorrow we've quickly got together a meeting in Porirua, and then we're going across, back over on the other side of the range, and we're doing a meeting in Wainuiomata on Tuesday, and another regional meeting on Thursday at Upper Hutt. And these are just to inform people, go out into the regions and inform people about what's going on, bring some expertise to you so that you've got some idea of what's been negotiated and agreed in the TPP. And obviously we come at it from a public interest point of view rather than a corporate point of view. Overwhelmingly, the agreement seems to be all about institutionalising corporate interest, institutionalising their ability to drive the agenda for our political economy, not just here in New Zealand, but right across the Pacific. And when you look at that agreement and look at the parallel agreement that's being negotiated between the USA and Europe called TTIP, Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, and then another agreement which New Zealand's involved in called TISA, which is the Trade in Services Agreement, which is between all of the major economies. This is the locking in of what people call the New World Order. Now, the thing there is that the New World Order is still the old world order, and it's the world of privilege, right? So what the New World Order seems to be about, as it's referred to, is about further institutionalising and locking in that interest for large investors. So Jeff's indicated to you that 62 individuals contain or own the wealth of the bottom half of the world's population. And we're seeing in New Zealand the increasing stretch in inequality between the haves and the have-nots. And we're also, we could probably have a little think about like words. So government comes from governance, right? And what they're actually doing is they're sacking themselves, right? So we've got this alien force that's come in and taken over our government, and what it's doing is it's dismantling government, right? So that we will have a set of interlocking private interests that are driving everything that happens in terms of social services, government policy, our environmental rules, etc., etc. If we don't want that to happen, if we don't want that, the spread of oil drilling and fracking, the further spread of dairy farming everywhere with poor regulation in terms of their effluents, if we don't want to see the corporate interest where one or several tobacco companies can overrun the wishes of 168 nations when they came together and developed the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. That's where our smoke-free 2025 policy comes from and the Australian legislation. 168 nations agreed in a treaty under the auspices of the World Health Organization to restrict tobacco control, so that our youngsters aren't encouraged by seductive and slick advertising, etc., into taking up the habit. Because everyone here who does smoke or has smoked, and I did for 27 years, right, knows how hard it is to get off it, right? So as soon as you've got a punter hooked into the habit, then the tobacco companies, whether it's Philip Morris or whoever, have got a player for a very long time. Okay, so, all right, so what can we do about it? We have been around the countryside and we've spoken to councils up and down the land, and we've got 12 major councils in New Zealand adopting the TPP policy solution. So on the second page of that paper that got circulated, Aotearoa New Zealand People's Demands, mine's just a folder, but you've got pages, okay? There's a TPP policy solution, okay? Now, I guess I've been instrumental in pushing that. It came out of Auckland Council, Nelson Council then adopted it, activists in Nelson. Then I was involved in pushing it on to the Tasman Council, and since then, right, Christchurch, Dunedin, Wellington, Hutt, Upper Hutt, Kapiti, right, Palmerston North, Tauranga. People say that Tauranga Council, and Tauranga is a conservative area, Tauranga got it straight away about sovereignty, right? And I took a few goes, but they got it. And also South Wairarapa District Council. Between those 12 councils, in their territories, they comprise 60% of the New Zealand population. Right? So if we're talking about representative democracy, that's where the mandate is. And that standard TPP policy solution, not one of those things or clauses in that was met in the negotiations by our great trade minister, great negotiator. Great job, Tim. Right? So that's one thing. But that's where the mandate is, right, amongst the public. And everyone remembers what it used to be like. Right? We had government with public service committed to delivering public services. That's where we need to go back to. So on the front of that is the demands that went to the November 14 rallies up and down the countryside. Okay, they were all endorsed everywhere. Auckland, here, Hamilton, I've been in Hamilton for the last 2 rallies, down in Christchurch, Dunedin, all of those places endorsed the demands. The first 5, right? We've added the 6th demand, okay? The 6th demand is in the case that all of those things that are outlined in our demands, which is proper process, right? As Amanda said, TPP was a secret, you didn't get told about it at the last election, so how could you have mandated the government to agree to it? Right. So now, what we want to do is declare all our areas TPP-free zones, okay? So there's posters down the back which indicate that, so that you can have them in all sorts of different sizes, TPP-free zones, okay? In addition to these meetings in the regions, okay, there's a big meeting which is part of a national series. Jane Kelsey and Laurie Wallach. So Jane Kelsey's a professor of law at Auckland University. She's our champion in all of this. Laurie Wallach from Public Citizen in the USA is coming over to do a series of meetings, and she's the Jane Kelsey of the USA. Okay, and they're doing Auckland on Tuesday the 26th, here at St Andrews on Wednesday the 27th. So next Wednesday coming, okay, in the city, St Andrews on the terrace, 7 o'clock. That will be very informative, and you'll get the insights of both Jane Kelsey and Laurie Wallach. And then they're going down to Christchurch the next day, Thursday, and then Dunedin on Friday, okay? Now there's There's posters down on the billiard table. You can take them away and stick them up on notice boards or post them onto poles or whatever, just do it. Okay. Then in relationship to the ongoing campaign, we've now been announced that the government's going to go ahead and sign the agreement on the 4th of February. So the government is putting their mana on the line about this signing. That's right. We, as part of the petition to the Governor-General, are going to congregate outside the Governor-General's office, or Government House, the gates, on the 30th, Saturday the 30th. And there will be rallies up and down the countryside on the 30th, not just here in Wellington, okay? Auckland's going to have biggies. Everywhere's planning to do things on Saturday the 30th. 1 o'clock, Government House, gates. Can I just have 2 minutes to wrap it? 1 minute. And so